Okay, hi all. Good afternoon. I'm going to share my screen and we will start the today's session. Hope my screen is visible. Okay, in today's session, what we are going to see is we have already seen this kind of subqueries and all, right? But we didn't see it as an individual topic since there is many things we need to see this in detail. So in today's session, what we are going to do is how to implement in all any exist and everything every class in a subquery. Okay. So first of all, I want to tell you what is mean by subquery. We have already seen in many session, right? In last session and all, in for every query we used the subqueries, right? So I will tell you in detail what the subquery will do. Subquery is an query that nested within another query. That's all. See here, this is the main query and this is the subquery. Okay, so select inside select like that. Okay, select. We can use any kind of thing like that. Okay, not only select. So we can use update query, and inside that we can use select query. So like that we can able to use. Okay, so we can able to use the insert query, and inside that we can able to use select query. So like that, on yesterday's session also we have seen, right, some query to insert, and I have used one insert query, and inside that I have used one select query. So we can if a query is written inside another query. Okay, so this what happens means this particular query will return one table or some column or some value, right? So this particular, if it is returning the something, then what it will do is this this query's output will be taken here. Okay, with some condition. Okay, with some condition, we are going to evaluate the columns, the resulted columns which comes here, and we will use that particular thing in the main query. So that is what happen usually. Okay, so by using in, all, exist, not exist, not in, so all these kind of class we can able to evaluate the things. Okay, we can able to see, for example, in is nothing but in this query, it return all the row from the table where the column value present in the result of the subquery, right? And it will check whether it is in the, okay, in means it's nothing but it returns true if the value matches with any of the set. See, this query is going to return one table, right? One column name, and from the another table, it is going to choose the column name, right? One column. And what it will do is it will return that column. Okay. So this in, what this in will check, it will check with the where condition. It will filter whether this column is in this particular result. So what this particular result will return, this column name, right? So it will return true if the value matches with the set. Okay, that is what the in will do. Similarly, all. Okay, this all operator use it to compare the values with the other value written by the subquery. So here the same thing is going to happen, but the difference is, say, the all will compare the value with the value written by the subquery. The subquery is going to return some value, and this will compare whether it is greater or lesser or not equal to or anything with respect to the all values. Okay, and it will return true if the comparison true for all the values. Okay, so it will return true if only it will return true only if the comparison is true for all the values. Here, any value, in is nothing but it will, so see the difference here, any value. Okay, here all value. So that is the difference. All the values written by the subquery. It will check with all the values written by the subquery. Then only it will return the true statement. So that is the difference between in and all. Similarly, so here we have used in, right? So in means it will return true if it found the matching value. What the not in will do? What the not in will do is similarly in not in. Okay. So not in will do. So what the not in will do is it will return true if it is not matched with any of the value. Okay, the reverse thing. And compared to in, the not in is reverse thing. Okay, in, not in, all. And similarly, next thing is any. So what this will do? This will return true if the comparison of the value, or if the comparison is true for any of the value, any one of the value. Okay, which is equal to any of the value written by the subquery. Okay, now exist what it will do is it will return true if the subquery returns at least one row. It will check whether any row is whether this subquery is returning any row or not. Okay, whether that particular thing exists or not. That's all. Please try to understand the difference between these things. Okay, any with respect to the value, it will see with respect to the value, but this will with respect to the condition, whether it is returning anything, any one row or not, at least one row or not, whether it exists or not. Okay, so that is the difference. So while using these keywords, okay, exist, any, and not exist is also present. So that is nothing but it's quite opposite to the exist. Okay, so not exist, exist, any, in, sorry, in, all. So not in, so everything we are going to use it in the subquery. Okay, so I will tell you some examples so that you people can able to understand. So here what I'm going to do is I will take one notepad. Okay, so up to this we have seen yesterday, right? The materialized view, and this is the difference and its advantage, disadvantage, and everything, right? So up to this we have seen, right? So in yesterday's session, we have seen the materialized view. Please go through if you didn't attend yesterday's class, please go through the recorded session. It's very important topic. Okay. So, so this is the today's topic, right? Subquery with in, all, exist. Okay. So what we are going to do is we will take the same invoice details. Okay. We will take the same invoice. So what I'm going to do is the first thing, we have already seen such kind of queries. Okay. So with the, but we have used with the joins, right? Now we are going to see it with in and everything. Okay. So the first thing what I'm going to do is the total value of all items sold in between. Okay, we are going to fetch the total value of all items sold in between some date. Okay, here we are having the date between only with respect to this month. Okay, 11th month date alone we are having. So what we are going to do is we will find the total value of all items sold. Where it got sold, the sold details are in invoice details, right? So we are going to find the thing. So find the total of all items sold in between in between to some two dates. Okay, we will take it as, see here we are having the dates in between only within this month. I will take it with 2020 11th month, right? And I will take it from 1st of 11th month and till 2020 same 11th month, and I will take till 10th. Okay, 10th of the particular month. So what I'm going to do is, so initially what we will do for the normal thing, so far we have seen we use some where condition to join the two tables, or the join operation to join the two tables, right? So here the third option is we can use in also. So what we are going to do is, first of all, I need to select the condition. Okay, I need to select the things between the IDs between these dates. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do is select invoice ID, which is present between, from which table, invoice master, right? So from invoice master, what is the condition? Where the date should be invoice date, right? INV date should be between, this is the condition, right? So this is the condition which I am going to give. Okay, so we have selected some date between these things. So what this query will return, this query will return. Okay, I will execute and show this to you. Where is the, okay, I will open PSQL. So next thing is, I will connect with our database DB class. Okay, so I'll try to increase the font size. Hope this is okay. See here, what it will do is, it will select all the invoice IDs, okay, between these two dates, between these dates, from 1st of November to 10th of November. Okay, it will select the all, it will select all the invoice ID. So this is what this query will return. Okay, what we need is, we need to find the total value of items sold in between these two dates. So in order to find the total value of the items, okay, in order to find the total value of items, what we need to do, so we have to do the sum of value, right, with respect to the invoice ID, right? So here what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select sum of values. Okay, value or values? Value. Okay, sum of value. Okay, from invoice details. Okay, so from invoice details, I need a sum, and with the condition, with the condition, invoice ID, where the invoice ID is where the invoice ID, okay, so all this invoice ID should be present in, okay, so what we have seen for in, so it will return true if the match value, if it found any match value in the set. So if it found any match value with respect to the invoice ID, it returned. What it returns? It returns all the invoice ID between these two dates, right? If it found any match value, okay, in the invoice ID present in the invoice detail. So for that, what I need to do, I need to mention this in. In is the keyword. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it as an subquery. So this is the subquery. Okay. So this is the subquery. This subquery will return this column, and this column using in operator. I'm just checking with the where condition whether this invoice ID present in the table which it has returned, which the subquery has returned. Okay, so this is the simple thing which I did. So the same thing, the same query. Okay, let me run and show this to you, and I will tell you what are all the other possibilities we can do. Okay. Can see here now, between these two dates, okay, between these two dates we have calculated the sum of value present in the invoice details, okay, for all these id. So the same thing we have already did, right? We have already did. Hope you guys remember the same thing we have already did with the join operation or with the where condition itself. Sorry, yes, by joining the two things using the where condition itself, right? Hope you guys remember. See here now what I'm going to do. It can be written in this way also. The same query can be written in this way also. This is also one possibility using the subquery. The same query, I'm going to return it by using, see here, there are two tables, right? Here I'm going to give it as a two table, and for this I'm using the alias name as ID and IM. Okay. So where with respect to the condition, what condition? Here, what is the condition? This invoice ID should be in this invoice ID present in the master table, right? So this is the same condition which I'm going to do. ID dot invoice ID should be equal to IM dot invoice ID. Okay, invoice ID. So with this condition, with respect to this condition, and also one more condition we are having. What is that? This is the condition, right? The date should be in between. So what I did, and between, what is between, the invoice date should be between, right? So with this condition, I'm going to write. So using where condition, I have joined the two table and I'm just calculating it. I have filtered the date between these two things. Okay, these two date, and also with the condition of ID should be equal to this ID, and using the select statement, I'm just calculating the sum of value. Okay, see the output is same. So in this type also we can able to do it. Otherwise, we can able to do it with the join. The same thing I can able to do it with the join also. I'm just leaving this that part as an exercise to you. Just try this. The same thing using join. Okay, how to do it with the join. We have already seen many kind of example like this. Okay, so the new thing is using in. Okay, using in, how to do the subquery, how to do it with using the subquery. Say okay, we will try to see the another other things. Okay, so we have completed in here, and we will take we will take one more example with the not in. Okay, so not in, not in. We will take what example we can take. Okay, here we have entered. Let me check it. Select start from item master, right? So hope we have entered some value, some new value. Yes, you can see here we have entered some new value. So hope this particular almond milk we have entered in yesterday or day before yesterday class, I think. So this particular item might not be present in the invoice details, right? Excuse me. Might not be present in the invoice details, right? Because this is the new item we have entered in the master table, right? We have entered in the master table here as a milk, right? Sorry, here almond milk. and here milk, and here is a new value. It's called new ID is called 27. So the 27 might not be present here because we didn't enter anything in the transaction table, right? So we will take what are all the items that never been sold yet. Okay, so that can be done using not in. Let us try items that never been sold yet. Okay, so the items never been sold, which should we need to get it from the invoice details, right? By relating it with the item master. So what we can do is using not in we can able to do. First, I will select all the distinct. Okay, I will select all the distinct items which got entered in the all the items. So with respect to the item ID, what are all the item ID present, distinct item ID present in the invoice details? How to do the do that? Select distinct. I have already told you what the distinct will do, right? Distinct and distinct on the difference also we have seen. Distinct is nothing but it will gives me the unique values. Okay, so here the item ID got repeated, right? It will gives me the unique values. Okay, item ID. With respect to the item ID, I'm just selecting the distinct values from invoice details. So this will gives me the, you can see here, this will gives me the distinct items. You can see here. Okay, I will do some ordering also so that it will be easy for you to order by item ID. Yes. So okay, that's okay. So you can see distinct items. So here 27 is not there, right? But it is in the item master, which means that particular item got sold. How to get that? Okay, how to get that? I will tell you how to do that. I'm going to select, okay, I'm going to select the item ID from the item master. And I'm going to check whether that particular item ID is not in, okay, what are all the item ID is not in the invoice details. Is that easy now? Item ID, okay, and item from item master, okay, where item ID should not be presenting. Okay, so what we need, the item that never sold. Okay, item that never sold. So for that, I'm using not in condition. Okay, see here, this is the subquery, right? So this is the subquery. So what this subquery will return? This subquery will return all the distinct items present in the invoice details. Okay, what are all the items got sold? Okay, so here what we need to do is, what I want is that what are all the items that never got sold, which means I need to compare it. Okay, or I need to check whether the item ID present in the item master, which is equal to, okay, or which is present in the item which is present in the invoice details item ID. Okay, if it is present, then it means it got sold. But what I need is, what is my requirement? Never got sold, never been sold. So I'm using not in. Okay, what are all the items not in the invoice details? Okay, so this will gives me, you can see here, Avin milk, right? We have entered the Avin milk in item master, but it never got sold. So there is no entry in the invoice details. So for that, what I used not in. Okay, this is how you need to use the not in. The same thing which we can use it. See here, the same thing which we can, the same query, I can use it by you with respect to the where condition also, and also join also. Okay. How to use it? The not in, here I have used not in. Okay. Then here what I need to do, I need to give not equal to. So that's all. So this is the exercise you need to practice. Okay. So here I have used the subquery with the not in keyword. Okay. Not in class. Now what you have to do is you have to practice it without a subquery, with the where condition, or with the join. So all this kind of query you need to practice. Okay, I have told you how to do that also. So okay, we will move on to the next thing. Okay, we will see all. Okay, so what all will do? All operator will use it to compare the value with all the value written from the subquery. Okay, all the value written from the subquery. So for this, what we are going to do is, I will take the invoice date. Okay, so I will take the invoice date, where all the items sold in the invoice are priced above the average price of the item. Okay, so are priced above the average price of the item, and I need that particular at what date it got sold. Okay, so that is the thing I need. So let us take, find the invoice date. Okay, of all items sold in that invoice, were sold above the average. We will take the average price of that item. Okay. So for that, what first thing what I want is, I need to calculate the average of all the items in the invoice details, right? I need to calculate the average of all the items in the average rate of all the items in the invoice details. So what I need to do is select average of rate. Okay, average of rate from which table? Invoice details. Okay. Hope you guys are following me. If you have any doubts, please let me know or put it in the chat box. Okay. So this is the thing. This is the first query. Okay. This is the first query which gives me the average rate of the all the items. Generally, all the items in the invoice details. Okay. So first I will try to execute this query and see we are getting the average of the all the rate of the item, right? So here what I'm going to do is, what I need is, from the invoice details where the rate should be greater than this average. What are all the items? Okay, what are all the invoice ID? Okay, what are all the transaction done above the average rate? Okay, so for this, what I need to do is, from select invoice ID. Invoice ID. Okay, I need to select the invoice ID from invoice details. Okay, where with what condition? Where my rate. Okay, where my rate should be greater than or equal to all. Okay, so this will return the all, which means it will check with the average, and this average should be greater than this rate or not for all the invoice ID. It used to check for the all the invoice IDs. Okay, so what I need to do is, just a minute. Sorry. So here it will check for the all the invoice IDs. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, so what I need it with respect to the date. I need it with the date, where I can get the date. So you can see here, I need to get the date from the invoice master, right? So this particular date, all this date, what are all the date it got sold, so it should be present in the, what are all the things which we have filtered here, right? So the IDs which is greater than the average rate of the overall average rate, right? So that is the thing we need. So for that, what I need is, I want to select. So this ID should be which I am selecting from the invoice master, right? So it should be distinct. Okay. So of course it is distinct from the invoice master. So I don't want any distinct thing. Okay. Invoice ID. Okay. So invoice ID from. So since this is the master table, all the invoice ID is distinct only, right? So we are maintaining the primary key and foreign key relationship. If not, you have to take this as a distinct. Okay. So from invoice master, what under what condition? Where invoice ID, okay, all the invoice ID which should be in, okay, which should be present in the subquery. What the subquery will return? Let me show you what the subquery will return. So this will return all the invoice, okay, all the invoice details, okay, all the invoice ID, which is which the rate is greater than the average rate of all the invoice, average rate of the all the IDs present in the invoice details, right? All the rate. So that is what we have did, and it filtered. Already it got filtered up to this. It got filtered, right? I'll try to execute this and show this to you. You can see here it filtered all the IDs, right? So from this ID, what we are going to do, we are going to match it with the invoice master in order to get the date. So there are 3 levels. We have passed the 3 levels. The first thing is, see, from the bottom level. What is the bottom level? We have calculated the average. So I am comparing this average with the invoice ID present in the invoice details for all the ID, whether it is greater or not. So this is the second level. And what is the third level? Here I'm just comparing it with the invoice master not to fix the date. Okay, in order to fix the date. Okay, from the invoice master. So now what I'm going to do is, here it will gives me what are all the date. Okay, what are all the date it got sold, under what condition. So all the average rate of the invoice, this is the total average. Okay, total average rate, what are all the items, what are all the invoice ID which got sold above the average rate. Okay, so it will return the date alone, nothing more than that. Okay. So for this, we have used the 3 subqueries. I missed something in the query, I think. Let me see. Yes, I missed the bracket. So here I have opened it for the second subquery, and here I have opened it for the third one. So these are all the dates which got matched. Okay, which got matched. So the same thing we can able to do it. The same thing we can able to do it with respect to the join and where condition operation. Okay, so hope you guys understood this. So here we have used the 3 subqueries, and please try to understand the difference between all and in. Okay, so we have completed the all in, not in. What is the last thing we are excuse me, sorry. So the next thing we are going to, what is the next thing we are going to see is, so all completed, not incompleted, and incompleted, and the remaining thing is any and exist. Okay, so for exist, we will see about the exist. Okay, exist, I think. Okay, yes, exist. So what this exist will do is it will check the existence of the such record, whether it is present in the subquery or not. Okay, at least for one record. Okay, so you can see here, at least it will return true if the subquery returns at least one record. With respect to, if I am going to give any condition or with respect to this condition, this particular subquery will return the record, and this will check whether it exists or not. That particular record exists or not. That's it. Okay. So for that thing, we are going to check whether, we will take one simple query. Okay. We will take one simple query. Just I'm going to see whether the IDs and the date present in the invoice master. Okay, at least one or two dates or one or two invoice ID which is getting matched with the invoice detail or not. Okay, of course it will match because we are having the primary key foreign key relationship and everything. But for in some cases, if you want to check whether this master table records is present in the transaction table or not, like that, you can do it with respect to the exist. Okay, I will tell you how to do that. So just I'm going to select star or select one is enough. Okay, one is nothing but it will return true if it exists. With such a condition, if it exists, it will return true. That's all. It will return one record. That's all. So that is called as one. Okay, so select one from invoice details. Okay, with the condition. So with the condition of what? Where invoice details dot invoice ID should be equal to invoice master. We will take the invoice master. Okay, so whether it is matching or not. Okay, so this is the subquery. Okay, I will take this as a subquery. This will return the matching records. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select invoice ID and invoice date from the invoice master. Okay, so from the invoice master, here comes the condition where exists, where it exists, whether it is returning anything. Okay, where it exists. Okay, if it exists, then what it will do, it will, okay, I didn't give the condition. Okay, where it exists, it will return true if any records exist. Of course it will exist. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, so we can see here, these are all the record which exist. Okay, which exist in the, and it is matching. These are all matching record. So let us see not exist. Not exist. Okay. So hope we didn't have any one record like that. I think we matched each and every record. Let us see. Let us see whether it is giving any output or not. Okay, or 0 rows selected. If it is not matched, then you can see here 0 rows selected, because we are having all the records. Okay, we are having all the records with respect to the invoice master, and it got matched with the invoice details. So for example, if I am inserting any new record in the invoice master and it is not entered in the invoice details, okay, then that particular record will come for the not exist. So as we seen for the Avin milk, right? We have already seen for not in for Avin milk, right? The same thing. Okay. So this is with respect to the exist. Okay. Then the next thing what we are going to see is any. So this any, what this any will return is if it is true, by comparing it, if it is true, any of the value. Okay. So with respect to exist, it whether it returns any column or not, any row or not, whether it exists or not, it is, that is the main difference. So here it compare, if it returns true if it compare, the comparison is true for any of the values. Okay, for any of the values. So for this we can take, we need to find the, okay, we will take the same thing. Okay, we will take the same thing, and I'm going to find all the invoice including at least one item present in the specific group or not. Okay, in this specific group. Okay, so we will try to find that. So what I'm going to do is, so select item ID from item master. Okay, I will take this group, this oil group. Okay, I will take this oil group where item group is equal to oil. Okay, any group. Okay. So here I have selected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check whether it got matched with the item ID. Okay, it got matched. So what this will return? This will return all the item ID matching with the item group. Okay, item group alone. For what item group? The oil. So basically what it will return is, it will return 6789. Okay, so for this oil it will return 6789. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check whether it is present in the invoice detail or not. Okay, select same, I want the invoice ID. What are all the IDs who got the oil items? Okay, this is the concept. From invoice details, what is the condition? Where item ID should be matched with, okay, any item ID equal to, okay, equal to any item which returns the 6789, right? It will return the 6789. So you can see here I'm trying to execute this only one line alone. So this will return 6789. So it will check with the item ID 6789, any one item. Okay, if any one item got matched, then it will return that particular invoice ID. Okay, you can see here this many items, this many invoice IDs got matched. Okay, we will take the invoice date also. Okay, we will extend this query by taking it as an invoice date also. Okay, so what if I want the date? Similarly, what if I want the date? So I will take this date from the invoice master, and with the where condition of invoice ID. Okay, invoice ID, the same thing should be equal to any one of the invoice ID should be matched with. So it will return the invoice ID with the date. Okay, hope you guys getting my point. So here we have included the third layer with respect to the invoice ID and sorry, with respect to the date. You can see here it will gives me the date. What are all the invoice ID and what are all the date where the oil got sold. With an item group oil, it got sold. So I have fetched the date. So by joining the three things, okay, um, these three tables, we can able to achieve this. Okay, you can try it with the where condition or by join. Okay, or join also. We have already seen how to do that here, right? We have already seen how to do that here. So I'm leaving these things as an exercise to you. So just try to do it. Just just give a try. Okay. So hope you guys understood this. So we have seen all the examples with respect to any, exist, and what is subquery, and inside the subquery we have used in, all, any, and exist. Okay. So do you have any doubts? Please let me know. I'm going to stop the recording.